The national champion is clad in big orange.
The pitch. Swing and a miss. That's the ball game. The national champion is clad in big orange.
At Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title. Connect with
the SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
the 1-0. In the air, right center field. Rock's on the move. Rock get there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a mismatch. Deep range. Come on now. And don't connect. Probably trying this time. Indeed. New hand there. Down the middle. Got it. On the fly. It's high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top. This is college football and it's got to be back.
Welcome into another episode of the Fanatics Show. You know it's Sunday. It's 6 p.m. Eastern. So we got to get it started. I'm your boy, Skylar. This is my co-host, Michael. How are we doing on a victory Sunday? Yeah, I said it. Already, spoiler alert. Lady got a dub. Let's get it. How we doing, Michael?
You know what? We're doing a lot better here at the end of the week than we did at the beginning of the week.
Amen.
Yeah, started off a little bit on a sour note to start the week, but you know what? We finished strong. Come out with a 2-2 split on the week as far as ball games go. But a lot of big things to talk about today. How you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, we're doing all right. Already got some folks in the comments. We got Tennessee Football 247 who was here 25 minutes ago. Says, doesn't matter what sport it is. It's always great to beat them Gators. Go Vols. Now, I'm gonna take that one higher. It's always great when I see Smokey get that big old blow up, like pool noodle type gator that he has, bro. Because when he pulls that thing out, you know a big old elbow WWE like smackdown's about to happen on that thing, and the crowd goes wild. But I agree with that.
Who was it for the football team? Was it Javante Spraggins that used to have like all the stuffed animals each time that we beat teams?
So. Yeah, man. It's great. Justin, he comes in, gives us a horns up. Big Texas fan. They're having themselves a decent season. They men's could be better for sure, but we appreciate you being in here. We welcome everybody who wants to join and watch. Drop a comment. Let us know you're here. We are live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We appreciate you guys. And then later on, we will have the episodes up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We appreciate you spending your Sunday afternoon with us. I am going to get started with the presenting sponsor, and that's going to be Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. Give him a call right here in Oak Ridge at 865-272-3387. Again, guys, Chris isn't the agent. That's just going to find you the best rate. He's going to compare, make sure you get a good rate, but also find the best coverage for you. And then also, if you do need to file that home or auto claim, he's going to be there at your doorstep to help you through every step of the way. Thank you, Chris, for your continued support of the show. Michael, give us a rundown of our segments before we get started with segment one, but give us kind of like a rundown. What are we talking about today? Obviously, ladies and men's basketball, but what's that third segment that we're having a lot of fun with?
Yeah, so we are going to start with men's basketball. We started with ladies last week. Going to try to keep going back and forth on it as best as we can. Obviously, segment 2 will be the Lady Vols basketball. Segment 3, we're going to continue our series of recapping the SEC teams this past football season, looking at how they actually did compared to how we thought they would do. And, kind of turning it into another little mini competition, kind of like our pick segment went for football season. Today, we're going to be looking at Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to give you our segment 1 sponsor, and that is Optimal Asbestos Services, your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. State licensed and insured, we specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. You can contact Jeff Mull at 3297, or on the web at octopusbestservices.com. So men's basketball. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about this first game.
It's yet another 1-1 week. We did come off back-to-back losses. I'm not going to put too much into this, man. Honestly, Igor, love to see him come strong. This was just, we kept forcing the three, dude. Like, we can talk all day long about the game as much as we want to, and we will, I guess, for a little portion of this segment. But this is just the definition of you're the bigger, stronger, faster team, more physical, but yet you kind of played into their game a little bit, in which you weren't shooting the ball well, and they kept letting you shoot the three, knowing that we were already in our head a little bit. Overall, the story of the game, 11 from 45 at the arc. Look, Kentucky only took a total of 50 shots.
Yes.
And we took 45 threes. You basically controlled this game. You just couldn't hit a three. And that's kind of where I'm hanging my hat on this. We've, fortunately, hindsight, we've been able to watch us play another game since then. So it kind of reaffirms my feeling on this. But overall, you kind of fed into Kentucky's game plan. They loved it. You didn't shoot the ball well, and that's what you get. A 5-point loss to a team in which, you outshot them by 22. Yeah, 22 total field goals more than Kentucky. You just can't keep shooting the three when it's not falling. In my opinion.
No, absolutely. But obviously we know the results of this game. But I want to run down the stat sheet here, leaving out the shooting percentages here, and I want you to tell me who you thought won this game. So starting with rebounds, Tennessee 41 rebounds, or I guess I need to leave out the teams. So 41 rebounds to 38 rebounds, 18 offensive rebounds to 8 offensive rebounds, 14 assists apiece, 8 steals to 3 steals, 4 blocks to 3 blocks, 5 turnovers to 13 turnovers, 15 points off of those turnovers compared to 5 points off of turnovers, 24 points in the paint compared to 20 points in the paint. And it fouls pretty much even, 18 to 17. Who do you think wins that game?
Dominated in every other stat, and honestly should have been a lot more points in the paint, but we just kind of gave up on it. The way we got back into this game was by Zakai Ziegler just going straight to the freaking rim and whatnot and getting back into the game. But yeah, literally led in almost every other single major statistical category. Like I said, dude, the story of the game, bro, it's that 3-point shooting. It was god awful. We sit here and say you got to keep shooting because you're obviously not going to make your next shot if you don't take the shot. But at what point? I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes left to go in the game, and I think we literally did nothing but shoot threes till the end of the game.
Every single shot at the end of that game, like you said, like the final 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that,
that's right,
was a 3-pointer. There was not a single 2-point basket taken.
There's no way Rick Barnes is saying that, right? I get it. Kentucky's giving you the shot, and Rick's going to say, hey, if you're open, take it. But, there's no way that's the offensive game plan that late in the game when you're that cold, right? No shot.
I wouldn't think so. Obviously, kind of like the saying goes, you can't make them if you don't take them. But, I completely get what you're saying, and I agree with you. I think at some point when the game is on the line, like it was at that point in the game, you've got to stop taking those threes. You hadn't hit them all night. Do you think you're going to start hitting them now?
Right.
The odds are against you at that point.
That's right. That's right. Woods, Water, and Mizzou. We appreciate you, Skeeter, for tuning in. Said excited for Wednesday night. I think it'll be a dogfight. Dude, I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, Mizzou's got a good basketball team this year, coming off of an 0-19 record, I believe it was last year in SEC play. They've turned that around this year.
Yeah,
and absolutely dominated a Mississippi State team yesterday on Mississippi State's home floor.
I think there was a total, kind of a sub-storyline here for this last week, which we'll get into the next game here soon. But, I think 10 ranked teams went down yesterday, which is tied for the most. And I think in one day. So, sitting third. There is no East Conference. So I think he just means sitting third in the conference, right? He said third in E. He said third in E, or if you're watching, this is what he says. Sitting third in E, I'm assuming he just means in the SEC. Yeah, there you go. in the SEC is crazy to me. Yeah, what a turnaround, right? Still not necessarily early because you're starting to see like who the contenders are, but there's still basketball to be played in the second half, and you've seen a lot of turmoil here yesterday. But no, Tennessee and Kentucky. Hated seeing Zakai. I hyperextend his knee. Luckily, that's all it was. He was actually able to come back in thanks to some adrenaline and some toughness, and probably got one of the magical shots in the knee that you talk about all the time. But overall, just can't. I think we just fed into Kentucky's game plan there. I mean, we should have absolutely kept forcing things in the paint. Igor, man, I love the grit that he played with, because he's been getting a lot of slack for shooting threes because he's only been like a 28 to 29% shooter from the arc. But I think he kind of hushed some of the criticism during this game as he went, I think, 4 of 8 from the arc in this game. I mean, he had one of his best games as a Tennessee Volunteer, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 of 8 from the arc, 6 of 10 from the field, and 3 of 4 from the free throw line. A rebound away from a double-double in this game. I mean, he definitely played his best ball game in a Tennessee uniform. And Skeeter chimes in. He says, "Fat fingers plus a small keyboard is a bad combo."
It's a bad combo.
Just as long as you're not using those 7 toes to try.
I was just gonna say, as long as he had 10 fat fingers, but yes,
Yeah.
that's right. No, man, we appreciate you being tuned in. But I mean, what are the other major takeaways from this game? Because I mean, technically, yes, this is the most points we've given up in a game, but 78, I still feel like isn't. I mean, I feel like the offense should have been there to kind of help the defense when they were struggling in this game a little bit. I mean, it's still kind of crazy to me in college basketball. 78 is the most we've given up all year. That's insane. I mean, your defense is locked in this entire season for that type of stat to be, true this late in the year. But what is something else you need to see from this team to kind of prevent? I mean, obviously, we've been abysmal shooting from 3, probably 4 or 5 games in a row. So like, what do we need to do to snap out of this?
You just need to get that defensive intensity. We'll talk about the Florida game here in a minute, but when you look at the defensive intensity in this Kentucky game compared to the Florida game, it was night and day difference. And we've seen that numerous times this year. It was different from the Auburn game last week. That was the most intense defensive game on both sides of the ball I've seen in a long time. And, you look at the Florida game when we played down at Florida, we didn't have that intensity then. It's like one night we could turn a switch on and, hey, we're playing on all cylinders on defense. And then the next night we come out and it's like, well, we're just going to play average defense and hope that our offense can score enough points. We don't have good enough offense to do that. Your defense has to lead to that offense. And, I think that we really need to work on the inside out type game. I think the threes will fall. But in this game, you saw a lot of passing around the perimeter and taking threes off of those. If you get the ball inside first and then kick it back out, that's where most of your threes are going to come from. We need to see a lot more of that going forward. And one thing that stands out to me is, we talked about Igor, 19 points, Lanier 15, Ziegler with 13, Meshack with 6, and Gainey with 6 as well. The guys that I would consider your post players, Okpara, Phillips, and I'll put Dubar in there, although him and Igor both are like a stretch 3, stretch 4. They play more on the perimeter. 4 points, 3 points, and 7 points respectively.
Gotta have some sort of presence down there.
Yes, you have to have a post presence that can open things up on the outside. So got to have more of a presence down there before we can get that outside game fixed.
Yeah, and then I'll piggyback that to say I don't feel like should be a team that sits there and holds the ball behind the arc and dribble it for 15 seconds, wait till the shot clock's down to 10 before we actually run an offensive play. I think that hurts us way more than it helps us. And I think in this game, you kind of seen that a lot, and you either get double teamed late in the shot clock on the, corner 3 where you got to just throw something up and then it's a shot clock violation, or, I feel like, can we not get into something a little bit quicker? But it's like when we dribble down court, it's just a lot of guys standing around. And then initially, as far as, instead of getting something going early, I just wish that we could kind of be a little more intentional.
Efficient.
Yeah, and efficient. Yeah, but intentional from
Yeah.
the gate as soon as you cross that half court line to get an offensive rhythm going and a play call going.
Like, you remember how the offense used to look with Grant and Admiral, where they would take most of the shot clock each time they came down. But like you're saying, they got into their offense right away. And if the look was there early, hey, we're taking that. But
Yeah.
they would bring that shot clock to under 10 seconds just about every time. But they would run their offense for like 25 seconds of the shot clock.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think we need to get in the offense a little bit earlier, try to find that look and not wait until it gets down to 15 seconds, 10 seconds, and then get into our offense, because then you're trying to rush things and you're getting bad looks whenever that happens.
Exactly. I mean, what I'm seeing though is like, and I'm sure you understand what I'm getting at, but it's like, let's say Chaz has the ball and he's just kind of walking up the court. He gets to kind of his position, but then he's like waving like, hey, I need a screen here. So then he sits there and waits on the screen to be formed. He kind of runs around, but then stops again. And then the screener goes to roll, like a pick and roll. And then the play's not there. So then he waves him back to screen again. And it's like, dude, we've just spent like 7 to 10 seconds on this, and we haven't gotten anywhere better than we were initially. And I don't know. I think we need to be a little bit more efficient with that. I mean, we're not a team, nor do we have the shooters with 0 seconds left on the clock to just throw something up and get one. Now we've gotten them barely every now and again on occasion, but that's not, in my opinion, the healthiest way to run the offense.
Yeah, and for me, I love a pick and roll. Pick and roll, that's a staple of basketball.
Sure.
That most simple play that you can run. But I felt like Tennessee under Rick Barnes, the most efficient offense that they ever had was whenever Grant Admiral, Jordan Bone, all of them were there. You saw the pick and roll, but you also saw a lot of passing, cutting, screening away from the ball. And I feel like you're getting away from all that. You see it occasionally, and I feel like that's when our offense runs at its best. But we're not seeing that all the time. It's kind of a two-man game, try to play that pick and roll like you were talking about. But now we're seeing a lot more of coming off that screen and looking to shoot off of it. And I'm not a big fan of that. If you want to do that, have one of your stretches like Igor or Dubar.
You're taking away a rebounder.
Yeah.
Like the moment you do something like that. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're going to try to shoot a three or something coming off that, have Igor or Dubar, somebody like that, set the screen and then do the pick and pop, have them pop back out to the three-point line. A lot of times you're going to be open shooting off of that. Don't have the guy coming off the screen be that three-point shooter, because they're going to try to switch there. They're going to hedge the screen, try to double, something like that. It's just not efficient basketball.
No, I got you. Well, like I said, got punched in the mouth at home. We talked all year. Can't lose at home. Got to protect home court, but it's a gauntlet of a schedule. We kind of said got to go 1-1 this week. So we took one of the mouth, took one of the chin, and game one of the week. And then also with that, you do technically lose 2 in a row because you lost the Saturday
Auburn
game against Auburn the week before. So you go into this weekend. And really, I would think a must-win, right?
Yes. Yeah, this was absolutely a must-win
Revenge game. And you go into this game and you realize Zakai is not playing. Igor is sick. What would you have thought going in? I mean, I know what I thought walking to the stadium knowing that Zakai wasn't playing, but what was your thoughts when you heard that Zakai wasn't playing or Igor?
Look, who
are your top 3 scorers?
I'm a bad Tennessee fan when it comes to this, because I looked at the FanDuel line that morning, Tennessee minus 5.5. I was like,
The fact that we were even favorites. The fact that we were even favorites is
that was my
insane.
thought.
I mean, we got beat by 30 the first meeting in this game.
That was my thought. I was like, ugh, I don't know, man. Especially after the way we played against Kentucky Tuesday, how we played down in Gainesville last time. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about taking Florida here, but I said, nah, I'm not even going to touch the guy. I'll put the over 143, which by the way was a terrible bet.
Yeah,
but
that was terrible.
When I found out Zakai was not playing, I went back to FanDuel real quick and I said, all right, I'm taking that line. It had dropped from 5.5 to 2.5 just by finding out Zakai Ziegler was not playing.
Yep.
And when I found out Igor wasn't playing, I was like, man, I really should hit Florida to win this game at this point. But a credit to Tennessee, they rallied around it. And that was one of the most dominant defensive efforts that I have seen, other than maybe the Auburn game. But I mean, even then, it was very. It was a mirrored type performance as far as the defense went in both of those games. I mean, Tennessee, when they play this type of defense, they're gonna beat pretty much anybody in the country.
Oh yeah. I went to this game with my pops. We're not massive basketball people as far as IQ and whatnot, but this has got to be one of the most fun games and most fun environments I've ever. I think I'll say it. This is the most fun game I've ever been to. We didn't score 100, right? But we didn't have to. It was the first half was and I'm kind of like, okay, well, at least we're hanging in there because you're missing 2 of your top 3 scores. I'm like, defense is playing solid. I think it was like 22-20 at half. It was a very boring half, or it might have been 24-22. I don't know, but
24-21.
24-21. Thank you. And but that second half, man, we came out. I think we came out hot. I can't remember how it started, if we got 6 unanswered or whatever, but it was the way the defense led the offense in the second half of this game was phenomenal. There was a play, I think it was in the first half. Oh yeah, with 47 seconds left to go in the half. I think 45. You see Jamal Meshack. I think I could be mixing up these plays, bro, because I've been seeing these highlights. But either way, it was exciting. Jamal Meshack makes a steal, right?
This one was in the second half. I know
this was in the second half, but there was another alley-oop to K. Phillips, by the way, played his lights out. But 47 seconds to go in the first half, that's not that play then. There was another play where somebody on the three-point line threw it to Jordan Gainey coming down straight heel, and then Jordan Gainey just kind of floats it up to Cade Phillips. Cade Phillips' elbows were to the freaking rim when he caught that ball and then slammed it home with like 42-ish seconds left to go in the half. That was a very exciting play. Kind of got this team back into it, really, because, we were down by 5, down by 6, but we kind of crawled right before half back to 3. I think that was a big, big reason why this team kind of had that belief in knowing that we could go out and not just compete, but go out and win even without, 2 of your top 3 scores. And it looks like you're about to pull up the play that maybe I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm about to pull up the play that ended up being the turning point in this game.
Yeah.
And it was this defensive effort over to offensive effort right here. Florida coming down, and dang, it looks like it's buffering.
It would do that to us, wouldn't
it? It sure would. I mean, I've had this pulled up for like the last half hour, and now
you would think it'd be saved at this point.
You would.
The back-to-back blocks. Oh, I know what this is.
Yeah, it was the back-to-back blocks, and then ends up going down to a transition Chaslin air 3. Dubar, fantastic block there without fouling. I thought this was going to be a wide open layup, and then Cade and Chaz come in, pass up.
This is when Chaz is feeling it, when he's in transition right there and just pops. Yeah, you're 100% right. That was, and he started feeling it. Like, Chaz actually showed a little bit of emotion after some of them threes, and I'm like, dude, thank you. We've been wanting to see that out of you a little bit, man. Like, look like you're having fun when you're playing good. Like, that was a massive moment. Honestly.
And after that play right there, I don't believe Tennessee gave up the lead. And I've actually got the other one that you were talking about pulled up as well. Give me just a second.
Tennessee didn't give up the lead. Yeah, you're probably right, because we ran away in the second half.
So this was that play where Meshack got the steal.
By the way, if you notice this, I know it may be choppy for you guys. It's choppy on my end at least. But if you notice Jamal Meshack when he's playing defense right there, if you want to take that back, watch his eyes. He's not actually looking at the ball, and he's not even looking at his defender. He's using all peripheral vision to make the instinctual, like, defensive play right there. So what he does is he fakes kind of like the end to swat, because you need to help your post guy right there when they go in. But he kind of fakes it to get that guy to pass it out, and he anticipated it, and it worked to perfection. And when he did that, he was able to pass it up. We actually ran the whole floor right there and didn't take a single dribble. That was so fun to watch. But Jamal Meshack, just a beautiful. That's why he's one of the best defenders in the SEC, in my opinion, in the country.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of notes on this play right here. So you were talking about Meshack you see he's not looking at the ball.
No.
This is textbook defense. They teach you from the time you're little playing defense. When you're in help side defense like he is right here, you have your head pretty much straight in the middle, peripheral vision, one looking at the ball, one looking at your man. That's how you play textbook defense there. So when the pass goes out, he can get his hand on it.
That was insane.
Knock it away. And I saw an interview after the game. They were asking him about this play. He said, as I jump right here, I was looking for Boswell, which is, up here at the top of the screen. I was looking for him. I see Cade taking off right here. So I figured I'd make an easier pass. Cade looking up. And what about Boswell, man? Boswell, a true freshman.
And then throws it back while he's in the air, bro. That's because I would have thought he would have just right layup. Like, honestly, like right there, I would have just thought, okay, Boswell's about to hit this layup. But no. We wanted to make it a lot more exciting because Cade keeps coming in. And, dude, when he slammed that thing, like the whole stadium rattled, bro.
Yeah, but look at how difficult this layup would have been for Boswell. By the time he catches, he lands right here. This is where he landed when he passed the ball to Cade.
Yep.
It would have been such a difficult layup. So the wherewithal to take it, and while he's in midair, give it back to Cade on the give and go there. Fantastic play all the way around. And then obviously, Cade just slams it home.
Cade, what a game. What a game by Cade. No, this was, like I said, the most fun basketball game I've ever witnessed. I mean, I went to Georgia and whatnot earlier in the year. And I got to go to this game and walking to the arena, and I'm like, yeah, we might get beat by 20 again. like that was my mindset. I mean, truthfully, and I'm as big as Tennessee fan as you'll find. But to see the boys kind of shut me up and all the naysayers, honestly, they showed out. But man, that is what makes it frustrating. We know that this is what this team is capable of, but why is it so hard to get this out of them? Game in and game out. And it's not even like they shot the ball too well. I mean, they still only 40% from the field. Only hit 6 out of 22 from 3. I mean, they were still 27% from 3-point. But, they made their presence felt in defense. And then also, we've seen a lot more transition points than normal. And then, man, the assist numbers is insane. 15-5 in the assist category. But Florida just not a good night. I think their number one guy, literally, I think his number is number 1. Let me look up his
Yeah,
you know his name?
Walter Clayton Jr. Went down with an injury in the first half.
Yep.
Did come back out for the second half, but
he wasn't the same, and the coach should have pulled him. And I was sitting with the Florida guy.
He slipped over there on the second.
Yep, I was with the Florida guy, and he kind of seen his struggles because, he had a couple turnovers when he came back, and he wasn't hitting anything when he came back. And the guy was like, man, it's a blowout. Get him out of the game. And he was, in credit to this guy, whoever it was, but he said that the entire second half. Dude, there's no reason to play this guy. It's a loss. It's okay. I think he was kind of whispering, you're going to take losses. It's only our third in the year, but let's not make a loss into something worse than what it was.
Yes.
And then you seen him slip, and it almost looked like he either made it worse or at least, at the very least, re-aggravated whatever happened in the first half. And that Florida fan was livid at the coach. He was actually pissed off to the point to where he was ready to leave. And it wasn't even because they were getting blown out. It was the fact that he could see that he sensed it coming. And then when he went down, I felt bad. I never want to see anybody get hurt. But I don't understand why he was playing at this point, because he did get hurt kind of late in the second half. But you go back and you look at it why? And so I kind of leaned over at my dad and was like, man, how much of that do you think is, Walter Clayton Jr. wanting to play through it? Do you think that had any influence? And Dad was like, at the end of the day, though, it's the coach's job to protect the player. And so I just kind of shrugged my shoulders yeah, that's true. I don't know, but felt bad for him because, he felt like he had to help his team out. I guess in his mindset, I know me as a player, if I were to get benched for the rest of the game, it's almost like me conceding the game. And I understand that from both ways, but at the end of the day, you got to live and fight for the next game too. So,
yeah, it's a long, grueling schedule, especially in the SEC. You got to think down the road. You can't just think, about the game in front of you. You know what I mean? And
right.
Justin, I appreciate that. I actually went through and I took a picture of what the dimensions and everything are supposed to be on these frames here, so I can make those changes. I just wish they could be a little bit quicker, but two stats in this game that really stand out to me. Number one, Florida shooting 24.5% from the field in this game, 13 of 53 overall, 4 of 27 from the 3-point line.
And let me say this. They had open looks.
They did
early
have
in
some
that
open
game.
looks.
It's not
They
even
did.
like our defense was that good. They were just missing the shots, man. I mean, early on in that game, the first 3 or 4 threes they took, I'm like, yeah, that's in. And then they missed. I'm like, ooh, okay, well, we needed to capitalize on that. We did. But yeah, to your point, they did have an abysmal night shooting from the arc.
Yeah, and then the second one, which is something I really, really want to see going forward. Points in the paint. Tennessee 34.
There it is.
Florida 14. If you can score, that's what, just over half your points right there. 34 of your 64 points were in the paint in this game. If you can see a number close to that in each game going forward, I think Tennessee wins just about every game that they play down the stretch.
Where do you see points in the paint stat?
So I'm
a little dumb.
I've got ESPN pulled up, and I go to the team stats, and they've got points in the paint.
So okay, can you go? Because I know, and I know if I know, then there's going to be listeners that want to know.
Mhm.
What were the points in the paint totals for the Kentucky game?
Let me go back real quick, and I can.
In a game that which we scored more than 64 points in it, right? Maybe not.
Yeah,
No.
we scored 73 in that game.
Yep. So 9 more points total, but how many more or less points in the paint?
So
34.
we said 34 out of 64 in the Florida game here. 24 out of 73 in the Kentucky game. That's what a 1-to-3 ratio compared to 1-to-2.
But I think that's my point. Like that number's way too little. I mean, it should have been way higher, especially with the way you were shooting from 3.
When you're scoring 73 points, I want to see that number around the 34, 35, 38, maybe even 40 more.
And I'm not even saying it
points in the
has
paint.
to be half your points, but it needs to be
No.
pretty close. It needs to be pretty close. But no, I just wanted to find out, kind of see what the differences were. But man, it's always great to beat Gators. This was a fun all around game from start to finish, really. But Dad, I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit on this. I mentioned, I was like, man, how did the team play like this when we call Zakai the heartbeat, and I still truly believe that. But you just watched the team go out and dominate a top 5 opponent by 20 points without 2 of their top 3 scorers, and Zakai Ziegler being just a little bit just different, right? Not having him on the court, and you still managed to play as good as you did. And Dad was like, sometimes when you're missing the guy and you kind of have to be the guy, you step up and be the guy. Like, there is no question about it. Like, they're at that point, it's either you or nobody. You don't have somebody to rely on at that point. And that was just kind of his mindset as the team, going into this game. You're looking at guys like Chaz. You're looking at guys like Jordan Gainey. You're looking at guys like, Akpara without Igor. I mean, hey, it's you or nobody. And so, with that type of mindset, I think it allowed the boys to kind of play a little bit more free. And with that, you've seen a lot of guys get a lot more minutes than you're used to, just because didn't really have anybody else. So
yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was about to segue into that. The most, underlying stat of this game, and it's not even a stat. It's the fact that you got to see Darlin Stone-Dubar and Bishop Boswell get valuable minutes on the floor that are going to be super important going down the rest of this schedule. Because we saw it. You were missing 2 guys in this game, 2 important guys in this game, which had you with 7 total scholarship players on your roster, all of which had to play in this game. Bishop Boswell played 11 minutes in this game. He was 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3.
we got to get that a little bit better.
We do, but he's not out there to score. He did his job while he was out there. He had, in 11 minutes of play, he had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal with only 1 turnover. That's valuable minutes right there. He came out there, and if he would have made a shot, that's just icing on the cake. But he came out there, and he did his job when he was out there. Darlin Stone-Dubar, 26 minutes in this game. Only 2 of 10 from the field. That's got to get better. 0 of 4 from the 3. I'd like to see him take a few less threes and try to get to the basket, because both of his baskets were right there at the rim. He had a sweet little turnaround jumper in the lane early in the first half. But he had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, that awesome block at the end of the first half, and no turnovers with only 1 foul. Valuable minutes there. And then I can't say enough about Jordan Gainey stepping up the way that he did in Zakai's place, playing that point guard position with Jemai Meshack. And speaking of Jemai Meshack, that's, even though he wasn't the leading scorer, that's my player of the game in this game. 8 points. He had 8 rebounds in this game, 5 assists, 2 steals, a block, and only 1 turnover in 36 minutes of play.
I like Cade Phillips. I'm giving it to Cade Phillips. That man had 3 blocks and had some of the most exciting slams that I've ever witnessed. I don't know. Maybe I'm just partial to Cade Phillips. I don't know. But to your point, you're basically playing with only 6 scores because you know what you're getting out of Bishop Boswell and Darlin Stone DeBoer and Jemai Meshack, for that matter, not really known for scoring at all either. And yet you still found a way to just get enough from everybody.
Yep.
And really more than enough. 20 points more than enough. But no, I do like the way this team played all around. A little slow in the first half, but I think you just kind of had that type of lineup. I mean, even though you had some guys, you've never really seen those guys on the court at once. So I think the first half was a little bit kind of getting the rhythm of playing with each other with that type of lineup. And then the second half, you stepped up, you took advantage of Florida not really shooting the ball that well, and then off defensively, you really just kind of swallowed them up, held them. I mean, suffocated them. From start to finish that second half. It was a great game. Great game.
You outscored Florida in the second half, 40-23. Just amazing effort in that second half. But you got anything else in this game? Justin said Meshack causes a lot more problems for them on defense. Absolutely, man. I wish I knew what Barnes' goal was each game as far as deflections and stuff go. Because, man, it seemed like every time down on defense, Meshack had at least 1 deflection. Every single possession that Florida had.
Oh, yeah. It's just crazy looking at the box score. There's only 7 players. That's like pee-wee basketball, bro. That's like middle school basketball. Only having 7 players that you rotate in with.
Yeah, and you only had 1 player end up with 4 fouls, and that was Cade Phillips. You did have 3 with 3 fouls, but only 1 player.
Well, and that's so real quick. We got to give credit to Akpara too, because he picked up 2 really quick. He picked up 2 fouls within like 3 minutes of playtime. And I'm like, oh, great. We're going to get into foul trouble. Have absolutely nobody. We're going to be like, I don't know if we're going to have to burn a red shirt or like a walk-on.
We're going to have to go down to the walk-ons and start playing.
I'm like, there's no shot. So very big credit. The fact that our defense played as well as they did, while also literally have to be so smart and to not commit dumb fouls. That is a big part of this score right here. Let's see. Justin said first half kind of looked like a pee-wee game.
It was very sloppy.
Yep. You're right. But that second half, man, TBA got loud. Food City Center, TBA, whatever. It got loud in that second half, especially on some of the plays. And then Chaz hitting the threes in transition was great. I've kind of learned that maybe Chaz isn't the shot creator, but when it's a catch and shoot type 3, or maybe off the dribble in transition, he's money. He's money in that. But if he has to kind of dribble around to find his shot, I'm not as confident in that. But that's okay. We just got to play to that strength now. Now let's make some offensive plays to kind of help him out. And we have been trying to do that. Chaz, you just seen him get in trouble because when he comes off that pick and roll and whatnot, he doesn't pull it immediately. Rick Barnes will bench him. That's part of it. But overall, 1-1. Let's see. The boys are now. What are they in SEC? 5-4 in conference.
Yeah, 5-4 in conference.
18-4 overall. I think the top 5 win actually will keep them in the top 10 now. They might move a spot up, but not any more than 1 spot. And the only reason why I say up is because so many teams lost this weekend. So, but overall, let's see. Who do the boys got next coming up this week?
You got Missouri coming up on Wednesday night this week.
Another ranked matchup.
And then you got Oklahoma. You're going to Oklahoma on Saturday. So Oklahoma is a great chance to get a victory. That Missouri game is going to be tough. Luckily, you do get them at home. And it's a great chance to move up a spot in conference play because you're sitting tied at 6th right now with Ole Miss at 5-4 overall. You're a half game behind Florida, a game behind Texas A&M. Missouri sitting in 3rd in the conference right now with sitting at 6-2, and then Alabama 8-1 with Auburn sitting at 8-0 in the
But
conference.
Alabama and Auburn haven't really played each other, have they?
They have not yet.
So they're going to be beating. They're going to be beating up each other here soon.
That game has got to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks they play
Did
Alabama.
they not play each other twice? I would have thought that would have been a matchup. Yeah,
last game of the season they'll play again. So
that might be for the conference. All right, I hate to sound this way because I feel like I'm looking ahead, but I'm looking at our schedule now. Missouri and Oklahoma, massive for this week. In fact, I think you have a good chance of beating them both. Next week, you've got Kentucky, Vanderbilt, both of which revenge games. I'm saying it's a must-win to go 4-0. Like, this is, if you want to stay in the conversation for the SEC title, you got to win really the rest of them. But
you've got to win the home games for sure, which is Missouri and Vanderbilt. You can go to Oklahoma, and I think you can win that one, even not playing your best. Oklahoma started off really good in non-con, has not played real well in conference play.
Yep.
That Kentucky game is the big question mark for me. I think that you're going to see Tennessee play a lot better in that game than they did.
But that's a revenge game.
Yes, it is.
You just seen how we played in our first revenge game.
Yeah.
I just, with it being Kentucky and Vanderbilt, both of those teams we lost to in the first round is what I'll say. We got to own it. I mean, we got to own it. This is a chance for Tennessee to kind of get back in the winning ways, but also allow the conference to beat each other up because, man, I highly doubt Auburn runs the table undefeated in the conference. If they do, bro, I will not put Tennessee as a championship in the bracket. I am absolutely putting Auburn if they go undefeated in the conference.
I have got Auburn's end of the schedule pulled up. This is who they have left. They play Oklahoma Wednesday night.
That should be a win.
They play Florida at home Saturday.
That could be their first loss.
You go to Vanderbilt.
Probably not.
To Alabama.
Could be another loss.
You get Arkansas and Georgia at home in back-to-back games.
Georgia is inconsistent. Yeah.
This is their last 4 games of the season. Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is a very tough team.
I mean, they took them pretty much to the wire yesterday.
At Kentucky. At Texas A&M. And at home against Alabama.
But see, I don't see them losing more than 4. That's where I'm getting at. So Tennessee's got to. I think it's a must-win to go 2-0 this week. And then next week, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to reiterate it because of who they're playing. It's got to be a must-win 2-0 week again if you're trying to stay in the conversation of SEC championship worthiness. I still think overall, it's not really a must-win as far as like coaching or anything like that. I don't really care about a 1 seed or a 2 seed as long as we're in the top 3. As long as we finish the year in the top 12-ish, 13 rank, like I'll be okay. And I think this team will. I think they'll be just fine.
I do want to be top 4 in the conference, though.
Sure.
Going into the SEC tournament, I want to be top 4.
If you're top 4 in the conference, so that locks in almost a 2 seed. But that would lock in a 3 seed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've got to do that. And I think you've got a good shot to do it coming up. I would love to see 4-0. I'm gonna say at the very least you've got to be 3-1 this over the next 2 weeks.
100%. Well, that was a long segment. Let's move on to the ladies. And before we do that, I'm gonna let you guys know who is our segment 2 sponsor, and that is PNLBusinessServices.com is how you reach them. But we know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Again, to reach out to P&L Business, just simply go to PNLBusinessServices.com, located right here in Oak Ridge as well. But it is tax season, so they are very busy. If you do need help, be sure to go to the website, give them a call. And then if they don't answer, give them a call again. But they are absolutely slammed busy. It's February. You know what it means. And it's tax season. Everybody's coming to them saying, I don't even know what taxes are. So they're having to clean all that up and then do the job the right way. So I feel for them. I'm praying for them. But, I almost sometimes wish I was in their shoes, because then I know, like, once April's around, it's like vacation time, baby. No, I'm joking. It's all good. Be sure to reach out to them for all of your business accounting and paperwork needs. Thank you for your continued support. Let's talk about the ladies coming off a win today, but a loss in the midweek. I'm actually very proud of the ladies for this one.
Look,
South Carolina's.
I know it was early in the game, but you had South Carolina on the ropes in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, well, yes, you started out great. You didn't end the first quarter great. I will say that.
That's correct.
You didn't end the first quarter great. You gave them that little bit of confidence to kind of march right back. I'm just simply saying South Carolina has been running through competition in the SEC, like 15, 20 point, 40 point margins of victory, and you held them within 7. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not taking moral victories here. There's things that we need to clean up and work on. This was Kim Caldwell's first game back, which I don't even know why she did that. I still don't know why she's coaching right now. She just had her baby. But I'm proud of the ladies. Went to this game, went and watched it. Very, very proud of them. They played very hard, like with a ton of heart, ton of passion. And I feel like they could beat anybody in the country. I seriously do. They just got to stay under control and play their game. But I was very, very proud of the effort that they put toward South Carolina and a game. And I'd have to look this up, and I hate doing this on the fly, but I'm going to. But I believe South Carolina has. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm pulling up their basically their scoring totals. South Carolina's only scored 70 or less. Let's see. 1. I'm doing this really quickly. 70 or less. 70 or less, 2. They only scored 67 against Texas. And only scored 66. So 3 times.
4. Well,
4 counting.
70 or less 4 times, because Tennessee was 70, LSU 66, Texas 67, and then opening game of the season against Michigan 68.
I mean, you held them to almost their lowest. I mean, within 3 points, their lowest total of the season. And offense just got to come around, do a little bit better. Again, 3-point line, kind of live and die by it, and you died by it there in this game. 11% from 3 of 26. But overall, like I said, I was very proud of the effort here by the Lady Vols.
But look, you had South Carolina beat. Look, I'm going to look at this the same way I did the Tennessee men against Kentucky, all right? I'm going to read these stats just like I did in Kentucky, and you tell me who should win this ball game. I mean, rebounds, 49-40. Offensive rebounds, 18-7. Assist numbers, 8-14. Steals, 10-8. Blocks, 4-6. Turnovers, 13-17. Points off those, even at 14. Fast break points, 17-23. Points in the paint, 38 apiece. And then total fouls, 16 apiece. I'm really focusing on that rebound number, especially the offensive rebound number. Who do you think should win that game when you see 49-40 and 18 offensive rebounds to 7?
Yeah.
That team with the higher numbers should win that game.
It's crazy that we earned the boards as well as we did, and I honestly didn't think we were the bigger team in this game. I mean,
we absolutely were not. I was listening to this game, and I can't remember what they said, but they said South Carolina has not been out-rebounded the way Tennessee out-rebounded them in, numerous games. I don't think they've been out-rebounded that way this season.
Yeah. No, right on. But, look, it's kind of the same old with Lady basketball, women's basketball, as far as South Carolina just steamrolling. They're 21-1. Their only loss, I think, is to UCLA, who's undefeated, maybe.
Yeah, number 1 UCLA undefeated.
LSU's 8-1, 23-1 overall, and their only loss is to South Carolina. Kentucky 19-2, 8-1 in the conference. Texas is 7-1 in the conference, and then really after Texas, it gets it's a blur in the SEC. Everybody's kind of beating up on everybody. How many teams do you think make it in the women's bracket out of the SEC? And the reason why I bring this up is I don't I don't think it's as heavy of a loaded, stacked tournament as the men's would be in the SEC. I think the women's maybe only be 9 teams, maybe.
I'm gonna
What do you
say
think?
I'm gonna say 10. I think 10 of them make it. I mean, you look South Carolina, LSU,
I don't
Kentucky.
see anybody.
Let's see, South Carolina, LSU, Kentucky, and Texas are locks. I think Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, Alabama, and Tennessee are going to make it. The teams that are going to kind of be on the bubble is Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State. Oklahoma, I believe, is still ranked. Mississippi State is ranked. Texas A&M is
What are you
not.
seeing out of A&M, who's 10-10 overall? I mean, what are you seeing out of that team that makes you think that they're tournament worthy?
They're playing well in conference play.
They're 3-5.
They're 3-5, but when you look at the rest of it, 2-6, 2-6, 2-7, 1-8, 1-8, they're winning some conference games that they probably shouldn't. So I agree. Texas A&M right now does not look like a tournament team. That's why I say they're on the bubble. So I do think that it's going to be 9-10 is what the number is going to be.
Yeah, I'm thinking 9, man. I just don't see a 10th team. But
as far
Tennessee
as
right now
play,
is like 7th. So we got some work to do, right? But we both kind of agreed preseason that we weren't necessarily thinking that Tennessee was going to win the conference this year, but definitely wanted to be top 5. So,
and they still can be.
I think they can. They're only 2 games back of being, 5th place. Obviously, South Carolina, LSU, Kentucky, and Texas are kind of running away with it. They're all within 1.5 games, but we're 5 games back total of South Carolina, obviously being 4-5 to their 9-0. But from just catching Ole Miss, who's 6-3 in the conference, it's doable. But I think that's kind of the mark that we should shoot for right now. And also winning the games you need to win for basically just the best seeding possible you can get, and not just the SEC tournament, but also the big dance. So I didn't know your thoughts on looking at the women's SEC. And seeing like what teams you think are players and who aren't, who's going to be an NIT, I guess is what I was getting at. So,
yeah, I think you're looking at 9 teams going into it. Maybe a 10th team depending on how conference play goes. But just looking ahead at Tennessee's schedule here before we get back to talking a little bit more about the South Carolina game. You got UConn coming up, non-conference on Thursday. That's big game. Big game as far as the history between these 2 programs, the history of the 2 programs. That's a big game. But here's your conference slate going forward. You do get that revenge game against LSU on the road this time. If you can somehow sneak up and get that one right there, hey, you're right back in this thing.
That would be massive.
Then you've got must win against Auburn. I'm going to say must win against Ole Miss. You're going to have to sneak up and get Alabama. You do get that one at home. And I think you can absolutely win that game. Must win at Florida. A would love to have it game at Kentucky. It's going to be tough on the road. Kentucky is a very good team, one of the top 4 in the conference. And then a must win against Georgia. I think the only games that are not must wins going forward is LSU, Kentucky, and maybe Alabama. Other than that, you've pretty much got to win all the rest of them.
Yeah, only 7 SEC games left on the schedule. But plenty of opportunity. Obviously, you play a top 10 team in UConn coming up Thursday. You play another top 10 team in LSU coming up on Sunday. Sorry.
Yep, Sunday.
And then you play 22 ranked Alabama, 12th ranked Kentucky later on in the season. So plenty of opportunity to kind of help with the what do they call it? It's not the FPI. It's what do you call it?
Net rankings.
Is it net rankings? I thought there was like a acronym or something that went along with it. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just not a basketball guru. I guess that's all it is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Net is kind of like what they look at as far as your strength they add.
Ken Palm is what I was getting.
Yes, Ken Palm. That kind of shows your net rankings.
Yeah, Ken Palm is what I was. It's not an acronym. Yeah. It's more like a name. But anyway, let's talk about this Missouri game that happened today, though.
Yeah, real quick, just looking at it, you did get a pretty balanced scoring overall in the South Carolina game, but you're gonna need more. You're gonna need more. people. But yeah,
your leading score only getting what, 12 points, was it?
yeah,
Ruby?
12 points. Ruby Whitehorn, Talaysia Cooper with 11, and then you had 8, 7, 6, 6, 5,
Yeah, it was super
4,
balanced.
4, and a
Which is
0.
what you want to see, but like you said, more balance would be great. But Talaysia Cooper kind of popped off today.
Yeah, so this game against Missouri, I've got mixed feelings about it, man.
It's a little closer than I wanted it. It was a very bad first quarter.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was a bad first quarter because he still scored 20 points, but it was a bad first quarter. But credit to them for fighting there at the end. Because man, Missouri, I think they were up like 12-2 to start the game.
Yeah.
And it felt worse than that. But Talaysia Cooper got hot and she started draining threes. I think she started maybe 3 or 4 from the arc. Was shooting the ball kind of lights out, kind of helped wheel this team back into this game. And then overall, look, the reason it's so important to gain offensive possessions is because in a game where you shoot 35% from the field to Missouri's 45.5, you still found a way to win by 5 points. That's why it's so important to play great defense, to play press, and to give your offense more opportunities, because then you don't even have to make as many buckets as your opponent, but you just gave yourself so many more opportunities, and it pays off in the end. Free throws, 75% to 65%. Man, Missouri's got to work on that as far as being at home and still shooting pretty poor from the free throw stripe, but rebounds were dead even. Assists, we were kind of not great on assists, honestly. On 24 buckets made, only had 11. But overall, I mean, what are your thoughts? You said you're mixed emotions. I'm proud of the ladies. You went on the road. You got a big win. Missouri's 1-8 in the conference. I know it's not a great team. It's a lot closer than you wanted it to be, but overall, I think it's a good win.
Yeah, I mean, some of my high points here that I feel good about. Obviously, you went on the road. You got a conference win. Great. You got a close conference win. You pulled out a close
You
conference
finished.
game.
You finished the game. Yeah.
That's where I won't say that I agree with you. I don't think that you finished necessarily.
Well, you had a dumb penalty there at the end. Did they call a flagrant on that?
They called a technical, I believe, on somebody.
Technical on a block? Or was I missing that? Like I didn't have the volume on that.
So I didn't catch the entire thing.
They were showing a replay, and it just looked like Talaysia Cooper went up for a block, and then like that was the replay that they showed, and like somehow that's a technical foul. Like I didn't understand that whatsoever.
So I kind of missed that part as far as the technical. Let me see.
I
if
got
can pull it up here.
Well, yeah, she shot free throw, or I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, but then they got the ball back, so I knew it was some sort of flagrant or technical.
So Z Spearman at some point during that got the technical foul. I'm not sure what exactly she did, but yeah, the foul was on Talaysia Cooper, and then Z Spearman, I guess she said something to the ref or something like that, and got the technical. But,
that's why I didn't, without the volume being on, I couldn't tell. But
yeah, but the reason I won't say that the Lady Vols finished, you know how in Josh Heupel's first season, and really even in his second season, when it got down towards the end of the game and you had to drain the clock, or even like right there at the end of the first half, you needed to drain the clock a little bit and, still try to move the ball, but you're not wanting to just go 100 miles an hour down the field. That's how I feel about this Lady Vols team. I don't feel like they have that slow down gear. I feel like it's all fast and furious the entire game. And when you do have to run clock, you get a little bit sloppy. You start turning the ball over, or you take bad shots that you don't need to take whenever you're up by a few points. That's what happened in the Vanderbilt game. That's why you lost. You weren't efficient in that slow it down type offense. And I just don't feel like they had that. I mean, you were up by 3 and turned the ball over, giving Missouri a chance to either tie or be down by 1. And luckily, they missed the shots. You get the rebound and get fouled, and you hit your free throws. I will say that. HYFT, you hit your free throws today. Missouri did not. So that's where I'm a little bit concerned going forward. Is I feel like they need to work on that in the game type scenario where it's close. You want to run some clock, but you still want to be aggressive. You want to take good shots. They need to work on that. And I'm concerned about a couple of players. Jewel Spear.
Yeah.
She had 8
on
points
ice
in this
cold.
game. 8 points in this game. Did not score a point until the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
Sarah Puckett. 2
Ice
games in a
cold.
row with a 0 spot. She didn't even take a shot in this game. Now, granted, she did have 7 rebounds. She did her job doing that. 7 rebounds, 1 block, only 1 turnover, 15 minutes of play, but did not score, didn't even attempt a shot. Tess Darby, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, 1 of 7 from the field.
I feel like Tess, though, she forces it almost. Like, even when you look at her shots, I almost feel like she – was it Tess Darby? I don't know if you watched the game as far as intently, but, like, I think it was Tess Darby. I'm so sorry. But, like, she had the ball in the arc on an offensive possession, and she tried to hit somebody that was on a cut that was literally double teamed.
Yeah, that was Tess
Like,
Darby.
that's
She tried
not
hitting,
even
Hollingshed.
That's
Yeah.
not even it's not even good ball. Like, that's not. I don't understand why we felt like we had to force that throw there when you could have easily just passed it to somebody else. I don't know. Like, something about her game just doesn't feel like it's almost like maybe the game's a little bit too fast for her right now. I don't know what we got to do to slow it down for her, but just felt like everything she does is forced or rushed or something along those lines.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And then, there's too much one-on-one type stuff going on. You talked about the assist numbers. I believe 17 to 11? 11 assists on 24 made baskets. Anytime you watch the men play, what is it, like 15, 16 assists off of, 23, 24
Well, I mean,
made
our
baskets,
offense
something
is
like
literally on men's. It's offensive rebounds and second chance points, kick out, boom, 3, whatever. So like literally, I mean, you're banking on 15 to 20 assists a game.
I want to see that from the ladies. I feel like if you move the ball on offense, pass it around, go inside out with it, you're going to get open looks that you can hit instead of going one-on-one throughout most of the game. Last thing I have on my little spiel right here, use the freaking backboard, dude. I've got a couple of people I'm going to call out here. Z Spearman, Ruby Whitehorn, sometimes Talasia Cooper, and Julian Hollingshed, Alyssa Latham. Use the freaking backboard, man. There's too many times that they're trying to, when they turn around, they got a good shot. They're open, and they're trying to just swish it in there. Man, Tim Duncan is in the Hall of Fame in the NBA because he used a backboard on pretty much every single shot that he had. That backboard is there for a reason. Use it. You're not going to break the backboard by shooting a shot. You're going to hit so many more shots if you do that. And this team is going to look a lot better whenever you do that too.
I feel like utilizing a backboard also kind of gives you more wiggle room for accuracy. Like your aiming point, I guess, is a little bit bigger than just the nothing but net. You don't have to worry about bricking it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I feel like utilizing the bank shot, for sure. And the bank shot, it goes in, and you can almost miss your aiming point on the bank several inches, one way or another, and you're still going to find the rim just based on how it's going to come off that backboard. But if you're trying to go nothing but net, you miss by a couple inches, and it's going to brick and go right back out or whatnot. I don't know. I do agree with that when it's right, especially if you're like you're posted up or something like that.
Yes,
you don't necessarily have to have that floater shot every time. Like, you can absolutely use the backboard to kind of help assist you and allow you to actually shoot up and over your defender and still get it in. Like, I don't know. That's just, I agree with that.
But I can think of 3 different occasions for Ruby Whitehorn and 2 today for Z Spearman where they got down the lane, they stopped, turn around, they're open because their girl kind of slid a little bit or hit the floor or something like that. Maybe a push off, maybe not. I don't know. But, they turned around, they had an open look and just tried kind of laying it just softly over the rim, and it was short. It hit off the front, hit off the back, something like that. If you hit off the backboard there, it's probably going in. So that's my little soapbox there on using the backboard. It's there for a reason. They teach you that from the time that you're little bitty.
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, Lady Vols on a pretty poor, efficient night from the offense and still found a way to win on the road. I'm proud of it. Like, obviously, there's going to be inconsistencies with this team in year 1 under Kim Caldwell, but I liked the fight, the grit. And I think they'll bounce back in a shooting efficiency way next game and games to come. I don't think I'm betting on this Tennessee Lady Vols team going 34 from the field often. I think they'll be all right. I think we'll be all right as long as, again, defense stays as strong as they were. They forced a crap ton of turnovers and gave themselves 14 more field goals total than their opponent. I think that's going to be their key to success as we close out the season.
Yeah, and going to the positive side of things, you forced, I believe it was 4 10-second calls today.
Yeah, it was insane.
You
the press defense was rocking.
You forced 2 or 3 5-second calls on the inbounds. I mean, the press today was awesome. Now, Missouri kind of played into your hand by picking it up before they crossed half court. But that's what you want. That double team was there. You forced the turnovers. You gave yourself a shot. I mean, I can sit here and nitpick about stuff all day long.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you got to win in conference play on the road. A big win, putting yourself one step closer to your goals towards the end of the season. I mean, pulling up the standings again, you mentioned it. Tennessee is sitting at, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. Let's see. They're tied for 8th overall right now. You're a game behind Alabama and Vanderbilt. You're 2 games behind Ole Miss. And then you got, Texas, Kentucky, LSU, South Carolina, all in those top spots. You still play Ole Miss and Alabama. Unfortunately, you dropped the one to Vanderbilt last week. You can't play them again, make that game up, but you still play Alabama and Ole Miss that's in front of you. You still got Oklahoma. You got you still got Georgia. You still got Kentucky, who's in front of you, and you got Florida and Auburn, who are behind you. Not to mention that LSU rematch that you got. You got plenty of chances to move up.
They got a big week this week. I mean, look, if they could just go 1-1 against UConn LSU this week, I think that's big move. I think you actually could move up in the rankings if you could somehow find a way to go 1-1 this week against UConn LSU. You have a great opportunity to go 2-0, and if you do that, man, you're going to actually put the world on notice about this Lady Vols team. Now, they got to work on some things to get that done, and there's a very real possibility you go 0-2. And that's not the worst thing in the world, as UConn's not even an SEC opponent. Like, it's okay. But how are you going to look in that game? Like, I need the Lady Vols to show a lot of fight and give yourself a chance. I mean, that's all we can ask for. It's at home. Use the 6 man. Use TBA. I mean, we had 12,000 in attendance for that South Carolina game. I expect a big crowd for that UConn game as well. So, utilize it, use it to your advantage, and go make some noise. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. While we are talking about Lady Vols basketball, before we get to our last segment, just a shout out to Kim Caldwell and this coaching staff, recruiting wise, as the South Carolina game. Whenever when South Carolina played LSU, Kim Mulkey said, I've never had to play against a team that had 10 McDonald's All-Americans on it. Mm-hmm. Well, Tennessee has 0 on this current roster. Mm-hmm. But 3 of their recruits for next year have all been selected for the McDonald's All-American game.
Hey, let's go.
So, I mean, the future is really bright on Rocky Top under Kim Caldwell. And if you're getting that in year 1, I mean, before you've really done anything, I think we're going to see Tennessee start competing again very soon. I mean, they're already competing this year. They've just dropped some close games. So, future is bright on Rocky Top under Kim Caldwell.
That's what I like to hear. Well, I guess send us into segment 3 and wrap up the show, man.
That's right. So our segment 3 sponsor, it is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So we are continuing our series of SEC teams. How they did and how we did predicting them, and we started from the bottom last week.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here. So
Yeah, moved up to one rung of the ladder. So
yeah, but through 3 teams, all right, our difference of win-loss ratios for 3 teams is 7. No,
yeah, both of us are
yeah,
at
7, and that's total record-wise. So and we're just doing regular season predictions.
Yep.
So of 36 games total, we're off by 7. It's not terrible. Let's see how we do today.
I mean, we do know a little bit about
And it's-
other teams.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying this is also bottom of the barrel, maybe, dare I say, a little bit more unpredictable because you kind of almost know who your players are going in the season. But it's like, okay, I don't know. But this is where it's going to get a little tricky because some of these teams are going to be surprisingly a little better than we anticipated, and some of them are going to be a little bit worse. So, like Mississippi State was a lot worse than we thought. That's okay.
Vanderbilt, who we're going to talk about tonight,
It was a lot better.
It was a lot better than we thought. But starting off, Oklahoma, they went 6-6 this year, 2-6 in SEC play in their first year in the conference. They did hit the under in their FanDuel preseason predictions. Your boy here hit this one right on the money.
That's a first. That's the first in this segment. You nailed I was feeling good about my 7-5, and then I realized that you nailed it because I was like, "Yeah, it's one off." And then I looked at you and I was like, "I'm just stretching. My shoulders a little tight."
Hey, you know what's funny? Because you're the one that brought this up last week.
What's that?
This makes 4 teams in a row now. I've picked 6-6.
Dude, you have. Oh my god! I just now noticed that, dude. This is insane. Michael's cheating, guys. 100%.
No, but
yeah, I literally have it in my notebook now.
Yeah, as far as my picks go this week, I had them beating Temple, Houston, and Tulane, which they did to start the season. I correctly picked the Tennessee game as well, as Tennessee went into Oklahoma and got a win. Auburn, let's see, did they?
They did beat Auburn.
They did beat Auburn. Okay, I picked that one correct too. Lost to Texas, so I was correct through 6 games this season. Then they
Go
lost.
ahead, keep going. Yeah.
No, they lost to South Carolina.
They did lose to South Carolina.
I picked them to beat South Carolina. They also lost to Ole Miss. They did beat Maine. Lost to Missouri. They beat Alabama, which I predicted a loss, and then lost to LSU to wrap up the season.
Yeah. To piggyback off your 6-6 train here that we got 4 in a row, to make that just a little bit better, all 4 of my predictions so far have been a different record prediction. All 4.
But listen, I didn't even realize that I did this.
No, yeah, you did. It's fine. You just went right down the middle when you didn't know. That's okay. It paid off in this one. But I had wins. I had them starting 5-0. I did have them beating Tennessee because I knew Tennessee was going to lose a road game on the road at night. I was just wrong on which one.
But we'll get to that.
No shot that I think it was going to be Arkansas, but it was. But either way, so I missed up that one. But I did have them beating, kind of like you. I had them beating Auburn, losing to Texas, beating South Carolina. We didn't anticipate South Carolina. We're going to talk about that. Lenore Sellers being as prominent and as good and competitive as South Carolina was, man. That was a decent surprise. They did lose to Ole Miss. I predicted the win at Maine, and then I went 3 straight losses to end the year. And that win over Alabama was, I think, monumental for this team to kind of keep their hopes up, stayed alive. Obviously got to go to a bowl because of that. But it kind of gave them, I guess, a little bit of belief of, okay, we can play among this conference because, man, it wasn't looking so hot for the longest of the season for Oklahoma and for their fans kind of getting used to, the difference. Going to the game in Norman, a lot of the fans, they just couldn't believe now, but I think this is more of a Tennessee thing, more an SEC, but they just couldn't believe the takeover. They couldn't believe how many fans traveled to an away game. They've never seen anything like that. And they told me straight up, like, I'm not making this up. And so I think, something like that's just something they're going to have to acclimate to, but I think they will. I just think I just don't think they were as well equipped as Texas was moving into this conference. And for a lot of uncontrollable reasons. But overall, They were able to salvage a really good win in this year, and stay 500 on the season.
So I do have a question for you, and I actually
Yeah.
heard this question earlier this week on TikTok. If Oklahoma would have beat Tennessee,
What's
do you think that this season would have turned out different from them?
Not really.
I think I agree with you. I think that you beat Tennessee. Maybe you pull one out against South Carolina, but South Carolina was a different animal this year. They surprised a lot of folks. I think maybe you sneak out that Missouri win towards the end of the season.
I think even
But
in the
the-
first 3 games, you've seen a little bit from Jackson Arnold that kind of gave you a little bit of suspicion, and I think they would have kind of constantly felt that and constantly been breathing down his neck the entire year, to where eventually they would have been finding a way to bench him, because that's what they did against Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I think even with the win, like technically, yeah, you can learn on film, and at least it didn't cost you a win. But I think at some point, the next game it could have happened, or the next game it would have happened. And then Michael Hawkins obviously showed a spark against Tennessee, but I mean, there's a lot of reasons behind that. Tennessee didn't game plan for that, and Michael Hawkins just ran. Like, it's not like he threw the ball really well. He just kind of played with some grit and had nothing to lose in that situation. So, but no, I don't think that it'd have been. I don't think it'd have been much different.
I think if they would have beat Tennessee, I don't think they beat Alabama at the end of the season. So
Right.
I think
Let's
that
keep in mind they had like 6 wide receivers out the entire year, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, due to injury. So I think inevitably it would have still been a lesser season than what they'd hoped. I think they had too much offensive problems. That one game wouldn't have changed that. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that. And it all started with the offensive line and obviously wide receiver issues. So
yeah, and you also brought up the Michael Hawkins thing in the Tennessee game. Jackson Arnold ended up coming back in at the end of the season for Michael Hawkins because he just wasn't quite there either. And I agree but disagree with you as far as, if they had beat Tennessee, do I think we still see the problems with Jackson Arnold? Yeah, maybe eventually. But I definitely don't think that if they had beaten Tennessee, we would have seen the comeback of Jackson Arnold against Alabama turning into an absolute madman running the ball to beat Alabama. So
yeah,
I don't think ultimately this season would end up a whole lot different either if they had beaten Tennessee.
Yep. Right on. What's next? Vandy or Arkansas?
The next one, it is Vanderbilt.
Oh, look. Guess what you picked?
Did I
you
not?
Didn't
put it on there?
Gosh, dang it! But they went 6-6 overall.
They went 6-6 overall. I picked 3. Yeah, I think we both picked 3-9 on this one.
That sounds about right.
But why do I not?
The first record prediction that wasn't a 6-6 for you is a 3-9, in which we both tied on.
Yeah, 3.
This was bad. This was bad. This is one of our worst takes so far, as far as being 3 games off what we initially thought.
Yeah, but I mean, looking down the schedule, did we really expect Virginia Tech to be as bad as they were this year? Because Virginia Tech was not good.
No, Virginia Tech was terrible.
I mean, we both predicted losses in that game for Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt shocked the world on that one.
I'm just mad that I gave Kentucky credit and I predicted them to beat Vanderbilt. That might be the worst part of the entire thing.
I agree with you. And then
Kentucky's so bad. They got to be like one of the next one. Yeah.
And then what about this right here? As far as one of the games that we picked as a win this year was at Georgia State, and they dropped that game but still go 6-6.
Yeah, that was wild. That reminded me of like a prime 2015 Tennessee team, 2014 Tennessee team, like the first era under Josh Dobbs. Where like, okay, then you like drop when you shouldn't, but then you win. I don't know. It's weird. No, I was off. I had them losing to Virginia Tech. Obviously, we both did. I think we were pretty spot on in our predictions here. I had them beating Alcorn State, Georgia State, and Ball State. I had them dropping every single SEC game. Just didn't think they had the talent on the team. I even knew that they had the quarterback from New Mexico State, who ended up being Diego Pavia is his name, and he's always been that. But the Pavia magic and now everything that transpired from beating Alabama and losing to Tennessee, I want to make sure that's very clear. didn't anticipate that at all. They were very competitive in a lot of their games, including Texas and whatnot. I think they only lost to Texas by a few points. Definitely a one-score game, I think. Can't remember the exact total of that game, but very solid. Clark Lee needed this. Clark Lee needed this for his team, for him, and who knows? Maybe they can build on this on Diego Pavia's 7th year in the league. So.
Yeah, and I've been talking all season long about the job that Clark Lee has done. He looked himself in the mirror and he said, "I've got to do something." And he went and he hired new offensive and defensive coordinators, and he went and he hit the transfer portal, hit it hard, and he did what he needed to do. He changed his whole coaching philosophy as well. And you see the results this year. I think that there's not much else he can do to go higher from here. Maybe 7-5, 8-4 is a stretch, but I think 6-6 is about the best that you're going to see at Vanderbilt. Just with the state that college football is in now, and just the state of Vanderbilt's program.
He gets the exact same schedule next year. That's one thing that's kind of like a plus in the whole system they're doing right now. Is all they did is took the exact same schedule, other than maybe the non-conference, but the SEC slate at least. All you did was flip who's home and away for this next year, this coming 2026 season, and you flipped the times in which you play the team as well. So he's going to at least be able to kind of measure himself very accurately, very more accurately this year, going from year, I don't know if it's year 3 for him, but year 3 to year 4, whatever that is, he's going to very much be able to look at his progression, from last year to this year, now 2025, that he was able to kind of accurately do so than before. So, but overall, it was a massive jump for Vanderbilt, and I think Vanderbilt might be a team that kind of stays right. I don't see them dropping off. I think they could be a team that's going to be tough to handle. Can't go into Vanderbilt like you usually can and just say, hey, this is going to be a 55-0 route. You gotta play some ball, and they've kind of learned to buckle up and nut up and play some ball. So
yeah. So obviously this is not going to be, official predictions or anything. We'll do those way down the road, but just taking a look at their schedule for 2025, Vanderbilt's schedule, you start off the season against Charleston Southern. I think we can both agree that one should be a win. At Virginia Tech, I just think that the way these two programs are going, I think Vanderbilt can go in and get a win at Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech should be better than they were last year, but how much better is a thing. I think Vanderbilt's in a better state right now. At South Carolina, I'm going to say it's a loss. South Carolina is just they're good, man. They've got a lot trending in their direction right now. But then you got Georgia State and Utah State at home in back-to-back games. I think it's very realistic to see Vanderbilt start off this season 4-1. Then you get deep in SEC play. You go to Alabama. Alabama's not going to lose that game. After what happened this past season, Alabama.
Kalen DeBoer will get fired if he lost that game again.
Yes, absolutely. Then you got LSU at home. You never know. I'm serious. I'm gonna say toss-up game. I'm gonna say toss-up game.
Brian Kelly will get fired if he lost that game.
I was gonna say, remember who is the head coach at LSU? It's Brian Kelly. Hey, Missouri, man. Skeeter and them might have to watch out next year. Missouri at home. Or it's at Vanderbilt. Let's see. You go to Texas. I think Texas next year with Arch Manning dog walks Vanderbilt. And then Auburn and Kentucky.
Oh, you're drinking the Texas Kool-Aid, huh?
No,
you probably already got Texas winning the Natty, don't you?
I absolutely do not.
Yeah.
You got
Arch
Auburn.
Manning.
You got Auburn and Kentucky. Auburn, if they don't make strides, they're going to get beat again. And then Kentucky is trending down badly. So I think those two will be wins.
Arch for president.
And then at Tennessee, that's going to be an obvious loss. So, I think you could be 6-6, 7-5 next year right now, just kind of glancing down through the schedule.
This is cute and all, but what did you actually predict? That's what we're trying to get at here. What did you predict for the 6-6? 3-9. Yeah, we already said that, didn't we?
Yeah, I had the exact same predictions as you. A loss to Virginia Tech, wins against Alcorn State, Georgia State, and then Ball State. And losses to every single SEC team.
Okay, so we did have I thought it was pretty cookie cutter. We thought we knew, and we didn't. So All right, Vanderbilt. Thank you for making us look terrible. Appreciate that. Still lost though, so I'm okay with it. To us at least.
Yeah.
Arkansas is team 3 for the segment.
Yeah, you want to see another team that made us look terrible?
Yeah.
Boom!
Well, you chose 6-6 again. So. Oh no, you chose 3-9. Let's go. Okay.
So you made up that one game.
I did make up that one game, baby. Let's go. Yeah, dude. I had them going 4-8. I had them beating Arkansas. PB. I don't even know who the hell they played in the. Sorry, excuse my language.
Arkansas
Who
Pine
they
Bluff.
played the Pine Bluff. Thank you. I had them losing to Oklahoma State, which I actually nailed that, but Arkansas should have absolutely won that
They
game.
should have, yes.
I had them beating UAB. I had them losing to Auburn, which I think they beat Auburn because Auburn was just not good this year. I had them losing to Texas A&M, and I think they did lose to Texas A&M.
Yes.
So overall, the only thing I missed was Auburn. But then this is where it gets thrown off the rails here, because I predicted Tennessee to beat them. It hurts, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen. I don't know why. But it didn't happen. So I had them losing to LSU. Did they beat LSU?
They did not.
Okay, all right. So I'm good there. I had them beating Mississippi State. Pretty sure they beat Mississippi State. I had them losing to Ole Miss and Texas back to back, which they did lose back to back to Ole Miss and Texas, right?
Yes.
And then I had them losing to Missouri after the Louisiana Tech game, but I think they beat Missouri. No, yeah,
Give me just a second.
I can't remember Arkansas's.
Let me pull up their.
They're only 6-6, so no, we're good.
Season.
They beat Auburn, they beat Tennessee, and that would have made up the two. That would have made up the 2 games, right? Solid.
So they beat Auburn. They beat Tennessee. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
So I was pretty on the money with the wins there. Just wasn't enough. They beat Auburn, Tennessee, where I had losses there. So overall, though, I was only off by 2 games. They went 6-6. Wasn't as bad as I thought. We're good. So here's where I don't understand. You predicted 6-6 4 in a row before we got to Vanderbilt. But today, every single team we just talked about all went 6-6. That's crazy. All right. You were just wrong on which teams went 6-6, brother. It's fine by me.
So the way I predicted, I predicted the exact same thing that you did, except I had a loss to Mississippi State. You know, as we saw last week, I was very high on Mississippi State.
Yeah, you were low on Arkansas, like low. I mean, we both were, but you were a lot lower than I was. So,
I said that by the
you
time
thought old boy was getting fired. I mean, we both did, honestly. But
I thought he was getting fired by the Ole Miss game. In my schedule prediction, I had them going 2-1 after the first 2 games of the season, and then losing 7 straight. I had them losing 7 straight games.
Yeah, that's rough.
Before they beat Louisiana Tech and lose to Missouri. So yeah,
hey,
they had a much better season than what we expected.
All right, so that's 3 more teams in the list. That's 6 total now. You were only off by 6, brother. I was also only off by 6, but you have the lone perfect record prediction so far. So congratulations. All that gets you is a crisp high five virtually. Tink. And then that still literally has us tied. That's crazy, bro. I did not think that we would even be like close. I didn't know. I don't know what I was thinking, but we are tied 6 games into this. And again, I am not looking ahead. Like, I know I could technically go through and see who actually won this thing, but I like being surprised. So I'm just going by this, 3 games at a time, 3 teams at a time. But overall, we are through 6 opponents in the SEC, and we have missed a grand total of 13 games, both of us, in 72 total games?
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not terrible.
No.
Wish it was a little tighter, but not terrible.
Yeah, and I have, because I've made the graphics, I have looked ahead and I've seen what our predictions are, but I don't remember what they are until we pull it back up.
Yeah.
So So yeah, I'm pretty much just as surprised as you are. Each time I pulled it up, I was real surprised with Vanderbilt because I thought that I actually put our predictions on there, and I must have just missed that one.
It's all right. They were the worst ones, so I understand why you left those off. You didn't want them to look bad. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
But
But no, big week coming up for basketball. Football, nothing too crazy going on other than pro day. So keep the seniors. They get the opportunity to showcase their skills. Pray up for them. Make sure they show out, like I know they will, and help their draft stock out just a little bit. But overall, baseball I think is 2 weeks away from their opening game.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. And did you see the big pickup that Tennessee baseball got?
I seen the big
this past
pickup,
week?
but I also seen other major news saying that Dean Curley right now is ranked number 2 in the MLB draft prospect list.
I didn't even see that.
Dean Curley. I'm telling you, expect a big year from Dean Curley. And defensively, Ariel Antigua, I think, will be really fun to watch. I'd love to see those two in our middle infield playing together. And I think that'll be really fun to watch. So
Yeah. So just doing this live. Next week, if we have just a little bit of time at the end, do we kind of want to go through and like we did last year and project our starting lineup, kind of like how we did last year?
yeah, and we'll look really bad doing it again. That's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
we looked terrible.
We were not even close last year. But yeah, I think I had the first baseman right.
I think we had the outfielders right. We just had them in the wrong
spots. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, we
didn't.
We didn't have anything else right.
Starting pitcher though. No, I'm joking. No, we can do something like that. Yeah, just remind me next week, so I can hurry up and do that real quick. Any last comments, questions from the viewers? We appreciate y'all being tuned in. Have several folks in the YouTube, several folks on the Twitter. Had a few folks on Facebook, but right now not so many. But we appreciate y'all being tuned in. It's kind of basketball season. We're nose deep into that. Dalton Connect's getting some help at the Lakers.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Luka Doncic. I don't even know how to say his last name.
Yeah, you said it right. Luka Doncic.
Yeah, Doncic. It's weird. It's a weird spelling. I'm American. We speak American, not English. I suck at English. I speak American. But anyways,
I speak redneck. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Southern hillbilly. All right.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you guys for being tuned in. Be sure next week, Sunday, 6:00 Eastern, we will be recapping the games. Big week for basketball for both teams. But we look forward to seeing y'all here and being tuned in live every week right here on the Vol Fanatics Show.
Yeah, and one thing that we fail to mention a lot of times, but guys, go check out the College Huddle. We are the official Tennessee podcast of the College Huddle. We are, I believe, 76 podcasts strong, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so basically half of the FBS we have podcasts for. Hopefully we will grow quite a bit during this off season. But we're super proud to be the official Tennessee member of the College Huddle. You see the ticker at the bottom. Check out all of our socials there. Please give us a follow if you don't mind.
I'm logged out of my TikTok for now, but we will persevere at some point. I lost it when I deleted the app when it went dark and for all of 10 hours. And then it's no longer on the App Store. So your boy just not had TikTok. Let's go. I'm surviving though. I'm actually liking it. I've gotten into MX Bikes, the app, dude. I'm pretty fast. I'm just saying.
There you go.
I'm not spending my time scrolling on TikTok anymore. I'm
exactly
getting good at dirt bikes. It's fine. It's fine.
But no, guys, we appreciate y'all tuning in today. Looking forward to a big week of Tennessee basketball. And as always, go Big Orange.